Hey everybody, and welcome back to A Bridge to Teaching. This week's episode, we're going to be talking about loss of autonomy in sports, our internal versus external dialogue, and why our sideline coaching can fail our students. So today we're going to be talking about this from a coaching perspective, but this also helps for parents who have students who are going off into the athlete division or just wanting to play into figuring things out. So one of the main things that sports teaches us is self-confidence, building inner trust. It's obviously great for our physical health, but it's also extremely good for our mental health. And it gives us these stepping stones where we start becoming our own individual and where we start to trust our decision making. And this is why sideline coaching at times can be really negative. Okay, so I want us to think about a time in our own sports journey where we've been trying something. We might be in the middle of a match. Maybe you're playing, I'm going to use American sports, but I used to play obviously South African sports, cricket, netball, swimming. Now it's jiu-jitsu. But let's talk about American sports, football, soccer, basketball. Sometimes you're on the basketball court, you're going to try to make the shot, everyone's yelling, and you just zone in and you make that shot. Something starts to happen with us where we start to trust our decision making, correct? Right. So, and before I carry on, I'm guilty of this too. We can get so excited and so involved in our students that we can sometimes overstep those boundaries. So by me making these videos, it's also not saying that I'm perfect, because I'm not. It's just understanding when we have crossed that boundary, why it can have a negative impact and how we can start bringing ourselves back from it. But of course, we first need to understand why. So our job as a coach or as a parent is to provide the skills necessary so that the student can implement them at the right time. This obviously means there's going to be an intense amount of failure at some point. So when we talk about the internal dialogue, we're talking about decisions that are made by us, and they're not always good decisions. But what happens during this internal dialogue is we start to fail, we start to rebuild, and we start to adjust our actions. So if we're on the basketball court or on the football field and we're attempting a run, we're attempting a big jump to catch a ball, and we're constantly failing, what's happening is we're readjusting. And each time we try, we are building onto that to see how we can make this work. Same happens in jiu-jitsu, right? We start to build this internal dialogue where we start to trust ourselves, we start to understand what we need to do, and we're very aware that the mistakes that have been made were our faults, which gives us more responsibility on how we can perfect it. Now, what happens when we're talking about sideline coaching is then we're turning it to the external. When that happens and we've got someone at the back, someone on the sideline, constantly yelling, telling us what to do every single second of the match, of the game, what that happens is we're now not trusting ourselves. We're having an external dialogue of what the other person wants. But what can happen in that particular circumstance is when we do fail, it's no more really responsibility on us. It's more that I didn't listen correctly. I didn't apply myself correctly. I wasn't doing what everybody else was telling me to do. Everything I was doing was wrong. Now you're taking away that internal dialogue of how we can make it better, and we're making it, I'm not listening properly. I'm not doing what others want of me. So we start taking away that inner responsibility and we start putting external factors on it. The other problem with that is when things do go right, we're not taking responsibility for that either. we're saying, oh yeah, okay, great, I won. But it's because I listened. It's because I did everything my coach wanted me to do, everything my mom wanted me to do, everything my dad wanted me to do. This win, this success wasn't because of me. It was because somebody else was constantly telling me what to do. So when we add that, we're always going to then have that self-doubt. Anytime they go back into any form of a match, of a game, they're going to start relying on these external factors to assist them with their own success. So we really need to understand how this can be extremely negative for our students. The whole point of teaching and coaching and being a parent is to give them the tools so that they don't need us anymore, which I know can be hard, because if they don't need a coach anymore, what am I doing? Our job as parents and as coaches is to give the tools needed so that they can build and start trusting themselves, but also make it their own. So what we're going to quickly talk about is the self-determination theory. And in this theory, there are 3 key factors: competence, connected, and in control. When we sideline coach, we risk stripping our students of all 3 of these. And we have an internal monologue normally of, I want to get better. I want to enjoy this. Once that sideline coaching steps in, that internal monologue of what do I want to do starts shifting to the external of what should I do. It's telling our students, and this isn't just for children, this goes for adults as well. It tells our students, our children, don't trust your instincts, trust mine instead. So let's all work together to start putting our work and autonomy back into our students, giving them that confidence. And anytime you catch yourself sideline coaching, myself included, let's take a step back and let us allow our students to figure it out. Until next time, bye. This is A Bridge to Teaching.